Greetings, everybody. This is Marcel Williams here, yet with another talk. It is Wednesday, the 4th of June, 2025. It feels just like yesterday that I said goodbye to places like Ichiyaya, Akihabara, Shinjuku, Odaiba, City, Tokyo Teleport in Tokyo, and the cities of Kyoto in the south and further south, Osaka. What a wonderful and fascinating travel experience it was to visit Japan. I've grown to love the Japanese culture, to love the Japanese people, and to admire them. It's a bit naive in a sense, because I know I haven't been that exposed to the culture and the people, but one gets the impression that these are quite fascinating people. You admire them for their orderliness, their culture, their nature. But in this video, I'd like to just also indicate a question or a query. Despite this admiration one has for the people and culture, you're puzzled by the difference between this nation in the East when you compare it with the West, the countries in the West. So in this video, I just want to present a few ideas where one needs to just have a look at this, and perhaps you might be interested to also question yourself on this anomaly that one finds. As I said, the Japanese people, very orderly people. The Japanese cities and places is very clean. I think if I compare, I'd say they're the cleanest people that I so far came across in terms of how they do things. Very disciplined. There's a calm and serene atmosphere in their cities, even the big metropolises like Tokyo and Osaka. One would say also Kyoto. And the people are very honest, and considerate and respectful. And these attributes of theirs is quite deep. It's not shallow and pretense, but it's genuine. And one is presented with the question then, how is it that a non-Christian country like Japan has such noble attributes, while in the West, self-professing Christian countries don't even have anything close to this? There's disorder, there's uncleanliness, there's ill discipline, and all kinds of things, drugs and violence and crime. Walking in Japan, operating in the public transport, etc., I felt the safest that I've been. You don't have to look. It was so refreshing not to look over your shoulder to see, are you safe? Is your goods safe, etc. It's quite a unique feeling coming from where I live. So, you're confronted with this idea, and I know the answer. One would wonder then why. On the one hand, I know the answer to how orderly these people are, etc., in comparison to the West. And yet you're still puzzled over it. I went and visited temples, shrines, and all kinds of other attractions in Japan. And these people are definitely not Christian people. They, in fact, in the only church I found or saw in Kyoto was one church near the hotel that I was at in Kyoto. So definitely not Christian. One would even categorize some of their practices and rituals as pagan and heathen. then, the question is then, why is there such orderliness and serenity, calmness and cleanliness in these people as compared to the West, with the certain countries in the West? As I said, I know the answer, but you still query the possibility. How has this come about? The Japanese people in the school system, they don't have tests and exams until grade 4. The most important lessons that they impart first to their kids is respect, politeness, and punctuality is emphasized. Proper behavior is concentrated on, and respect for all people regardless of their financial status. The children are brought up to be independent and yet to work as a team. For example, there's no cleaners, or what we call in the United States of America, janitors in the schools. The students take charge of the cleaning of their environment in the school. They take responsibility and they take full charge of cleaning their classrooms and the school. They value and respect their environment. And you get also the focuses on seeking knowledge, pure knowledge, instead of grades, as we get in our Western schools. So I can say quite more about that, because being an educationist, my focus is always on the systems of education in the different countries. So I want to just leave you with that query. How is it possible, that this is a reality? I know, as I said earlier on, I know the answer. The Japanese history and culture comes from the samurai culture in their history, where a discipline, order, and loyalty were very important concepts that was ingrained into the people, and that one would say has lived through the centuries to this point where loyalty, respect, and honesty are still very relevant in their psyche as compared to other countries. So as I said, I know the answer, yet I'm still puzzled at how is it possible to keep this up and going, whereas in the West people are Christian and they're exposed to the Christian ethic, and yet such a lot of mess and disorder is taking place in our societies this side. Just a passing point, the parts of Japan in the cities where there's disorder and not so much clean and so on, is those places like Shinjuku Station, where there's a lot of Westerners as tourists, and you can see the difference that the tourists actually from the West impinge, in a sense, on the already existing culture and ethic in Japan, because the streets and the area becomes untidy, and you can see the influence of foreign tourists, and I would say mostly from the West. So I just want to leave you with that idea. Possibly it would be good to do another video on this Japanese experience, because it presents several pertinent questions for the person to engage with. So have a great Wednesday further.